Mark Zuckerberg talked about on this famous podcast, which is now circulating all of Twitter, at least for me it was, his proposed idea around AI helping loneliness. So let's watch this clip. I don't know how much I'm going to watch of it. Maybe we'll stop here and there and have some commentary, but let's watch this clip and we'll get into it. There's a lot I have to say on this, and if you have a lot to say on this topic as well, I would love for you to comment down below what you think about this.
The average American, I think it's fewer than 3 friends. 3 people that they'd consider friends. And the average person has demand for meaningfully more. I think it's like 15 friends or something, right? I guess there's probably some point where you're like, all right, I'm just too busy. I can't deal with more people. But the average person wants more connectivity, connection than they have. So, there's a lot of questions that people ask of stuff like, okay, is this going to replace kind of in-person connections or real life connections? And
like how Facebook already started to do in Meta, but I digress.
My default is that the answer to that is probably no. I think I think that there are all these things that are better about kind of physical connections when you can have them, but the reality is that people just don't have the connection and they feel more alone a lot of the time than they would like. So I think that a lot of these things that today there might be a little bit of a stigma around, I would guess that over time, we will find the vocabulary as a society to be able to articulate why that is valuable and why the people who are doing these things are like, why they are rational for doing it and how it is adding value for their lives. But also I think that the field is very early. So, it's like, I think, there are a handful of companies and stuff who are doing virtual therapist and, there's like virtual girlfriend type stuff, but it's very early. Right. Yeah. The embodiment in the things is pretty weak. A lot of them, like you open it up and it's just like an image of the therapist or the person you're talking to or whatever. Sometimes there's some very rough animation, but it's not like an embodiment.
Okay, there's so many things I could say about this video and this topic in general. Maybe I start with the bright side of what he said, because as everybody started absolutely tearing him apart, especially online, because online is incredibly toxic, I kind of understood. What he was saying. Do I think that it's the answer? And do I think that Meta has done like great things for society as a whole and has like a huge net positive for the world? No. But I get what he's saying, where he's like, there are people in the world that can't socially connect as much as they would want to in person.